Hey, mighty Rough Riders, it's Mr. Schaller, your reading/testing nerd, here with Eddie the dog and a favorite Halloween book called the Halloweiner. Here we go. Okay, so there once was a dog named Oscar who was half a dog tall and 1.5 dogs long. Because of his unusual shape and size, the other dogs made fun of him. Wiener dog, they called him. And Oscar did not like it one bit. Oscar's mother was no help either. Every morning when the dogs walked off to disobedience school, Oscar's mother stood in the front yard calling out, "Farewell, my little Vienna sausage." And the other dogs laughed and laughed. Eddie, what do you think of the story? Eddie's pretty tired. So there he is at obedience school. Most of the time, Oscar was upset by all this, but not today. Today was Halloween. And Oscar was thinking about other things. All day long at obedience school, Oscar daydreamed about Halloween night, trick-or-treats, and scary costumes. Probably like most of you. When Oscar got home, he dashed upstairs to start working on his scary Halloween costume. "Hey, Eddie, come back." But when he got to his room, a surprise was waiting for him. "Happy Halloween, my little sausage, Link," said Oscar's mother. "I've made you a costume to wear for trick-or-treats." Uh-oh, what do you think it is? Oh no! It was a giant hot dog bun complete with mustard, and guess who was supposed to go in the middle? Oscar did not want to hurt his mother's feelings, so he decided to wear the silly costume. Poor Oscar, he wanted to be all spooky and scary. That night, all the dogs on the block gathered to show off their costumes. Everyone was looking quite scary. Then Oscar showed up looking quite frank. Get it? Like a Frankfurter. When the other dogs saw his silly costume, "Hold on, Eddie," they howled with laughter. "Look at Oscar," they cried. "He really is a wiener dog." Poor Oscar was so embarrassed. Eddie. Sorry, Eddie. Eddie's a good sport. Wiener dog," laughed the other dogs as they ran off to go trick-or-treating, and Oscar tried to keep up with them, but his silly costume slowed him down. So whenever they got to a house, all the other dogs took all the candy, and Oscar was left with nothing. Soon, trick-or-treating was over, and the dogs walked past a spooky graveyard. Suddenly, a horrible hissing sound filled the air. Sss. The dogs stopped dead in their tracks. Dun, dun, dun. Then, out of the graveyard, rose a ghastly monster. The dogs screamed for their lives. They dropped their treats and jumped into a nearby pond. Eddie, what's going to happen? The monster moved closer. "Please don't eat us," cried the dogs. "Oh, come here, come here." The monster hissed and yowled and said, "Boo-hoo-hoo." And the dogs sobbed, "No, please." The monster jumped up and down. "Somebody save us," shrieked the dogs. The dogs are all in the water. The monster's going to get them. Just then, somebody showed up. It was Oscar. Because Oscar was so short, he saw something the other dogs had not seen. "That's no monster," cried Oscar. With a loud bark, Oscar waddled to the rescue. Oscar chomped and tugged with all his might. Rip! And there, standing in the moonlight, were a couple of ornery cats. It was no monster. Eddie, it was no monster. "Help!" cried the cats. "We're being attacked by a giant Frankfurter." And off they ran through the graveyard. Stay here, Eddie. We're almost done. The dogs in the pond, oh, you big knucklehead, had seen the whole thing, and now it was their turn to be embarrassed. "We've been chased by a couple of cats," they cried. But Oscar was a true friend. He leaped into the water and swam out to the dogs. And guess what? His costume made a great raft for them to float on. When they got back to dry land, all the dogs shared their Halloween candy with Oscar. And because Oscar had been so brave, they changed his name from Wiener Dog to Hero Sandwich. And from that night on, nobody ever made fun of Oscar again. Eddie, is that the best book ever? It's in the library. Happy Halloween, everybody, and we'll see you next year.